welcome here. My name is Josie, if we haven't met before. I host this podcast. It's my third episode. I am a wife and a mom to a 1-year-old, and I love to knit and craft. I have some other crafts that I'm excited to show you. This is a roundup for the month of April. I was hoping to record last week, but sickness got in the way. But yeah, I have some two knitting finished objects, two sewing finished objects, and I have some whips that I want to share with you. And then at the end, I'll give you some of my favorites in the month of April as well. So let's get started with my first finished object of April. It was my mom's birthday socks that I've shared about. Here they are. This was made in the Bad Sheep yarn fingering base in mushroom colorway. There's a cute little yoga logo. But I had a lot of fun knitting this. I used the 9-inch circular sock tutorial by Crazy Sock Lady, knitted size medium for my mom, hoping that it fits her well. And it was a blast to knit up. I really enjoy plain old stockinette, and especially when the colorway gives all specialness to the garment that you're making, or accessory that you're making, I guess. It's so much fun. I just had a really blast knitting this. I thought that you weren't gonna see this in person, but we haven't been able to get together with my mom yet to give these to her, so you get to see them. But we do have plans set up, so you will not see them next time. But super fun to make. They went really quickly. I just got these little sock blockers. I haven't used sock blockers before from the previous socks, but I'm working on currently a cable sock you'll see later on, and knew that I needed sock blockers to stretch the cable sock, and it's also ribbed, and so I went ahead and bought them, and it does make the sock look so beautiful. Like, this isn't even on sock blocker and it looks great. So that was a really fun purchase. But yeah, nothing too much to say about the sock yarns. I used that pattern. It's my second time using it, I think, and it was great. It was great. My next knitted finished object is a pot holder by Pearl Soho. I have it in this adorable, let me get my hand out of the way, adorable basket. I'm gonna overlay some video footage of this because I found this while antiquing. My husband and I went on an anniversary trip, and we stopped by a little flea market, and I found this basket, and it's hand painted by someone named Miriam Brody, I think, Brody, and it's beautiful. But I put the pot holder in this basket because it matches perfectly. Again, I'll put videos and photos of it so you can really see it. But this was an impromptu cast on. I was not planning on doing this. One of my friends had a baby and we're bringing them a meal, and I just really felt like knitting a pot holder, and it's specifically a prayer pot holder. I don't know if you've heard of prayer shawls, but it's a ministry that you can be a part of where a group of people, if you're in this ministry, can you knit or crochet shawls for people that request them, are going through a hard time, or just like nursing homes will often ask for them around Christmas time. But a prayer shawl intimidates me. I've only knitted one shawl, and it took forever, and I needed something quick, something that I could give them when we brought them a meal, which was only, I think 12 days. I think just under 2 weeks is when I signed up for the meal. And so I went to Joann's and I got some cotton yarn, just Lily sugar and cream cotton. I haven't used this yarn before, and I was also looking forward to getting this because I'm planning on knitting a summer garment with some warm weather yarn, and I wanted to know how it felt to knit with cotton, or something that did not have a lot of give to it, a lot of stretch. So I got this colorway, it's denim. And I just decided to knit this pot holder, and while I was knitting, pray for the family as they transition to being a family of 5. So here it is. It's got a little hook. That's the front, and this is the back. So it's a free pattern by Pearl Soho, so I'm not too worried about giving too much away from it since it's free, but you cast on in the round, you knit a tube, and then you use a 3-needle bind off to cast off, and then so that also seams up the cast off edge at the same time, and then you do this little fold. I'll put pictures, but you do this little fold and then you seam it up. So that's my whip stitch seam, seaming the whole thing. And this is the 3-needle. I did the modified 3-needle bind off because I didn't want big purl ridge here. And so that's the front. But yeah, I am very happy with it. It's a very quick knit. It's not large at all. The cotton definitely hurt my hands, so it made me a little nervous about my ideas for summer knitting, but I'll talk about that later too. But I was just, so it calls for a 16-inch circular needle to knit in the round, and I don't have 16 inches. My interchangeable set comes with 5-inch needle tips, and so I can't make 16-inch length, so I have to buy fixed circulars, and I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to do magic loop, but magic loop for cotton yarn is not very forgiving at all with laddering, and I just have the most difficult time. I'll give you a close-up. This is my magic loop edge, and you can see that with purling and ribbing, I have a really hard time with magic loop getting ladders. With knitting, it's fine, it closes up. I don't have any issues with knitting and magic loop, but with purling and ribbing, I almost always get some like ladder effect. In the socks, like the wool socks, it always blocks out, but with cotton, it doesn't. So if you have any tips for purling, ribbing, and magic loop, let me know, because I'm about ready to knit a summer garment and I don't want this ladder. I think it looks okay with the pot holder because this is obviously the back side. That's obviously the front side. So I think it looks okay, but let me know your tips if you have any for magic loop and purling and ribbing. But yeah, this was a really fun project. It was really easy. It feels really sturdy, and I like that it's double thickness. It was super fun, so I get to give them that tonight when we bring them their meal, making a quiche for them. So I'm really excited. I think it'll be fun. And I had it in this little beautiful basket. That's my second and last finished object. I'm still working on my sister's Mountain Walk socks by Florence Miller from Handmade by Florence. I did finish a sock though. I was here, this is my progress keeper for last time I filmed, so I did go quickly and it's looking great. This is the first sock. Really no complaints. It's written really well. This is the best Kitchener stitch toe I think I've ever done, which was so exciting. Like, I cannot see the seam, the tension is even, and I usually have a hard time getting that tension even. So that was really exciting, and it's all thanks to the 9-inch circular needles tutorial by Crazy Sock Lady. So thank you, Kay from Crazy Sock Lady, for your tips on the Kitchener stitch. This is super fun. I'll show you where I'm at now. On the second sock, so I have done a little bit. Let me get the tail out of the way. I've done about 3 inches or so, 2 inches. The socks mirror each other, which is so much fun because you don't really have sock island. Because you are working them a little bit differently. The cable twists are on a different knit row or a different knit column, and they're mirrored, so the cables are not worked the same way, they're worked a different way, and I think it's much easier. This cable stitch on this second sock is much easier than the first one, so it's just moving along really quickly. It's a 4-round repeat, so it goes and goes and goes. By the time you're like, oh, I want to do one more repeat, you've done 4 more rows. So it really does move very quickly. I'm knitting the first size. There's 2 sizes, and I'm knitting the first one for my sister. And I'm praying that they fit. When you don't have them, I put it on the sock blocker. I have not blocked it. But yeah, when you don't have them on the they really are stuck in. The ribbing really tightens it. So that makes me, but putting it on the sock blocker, I'm like, they'll fit her. And hopefully the length will too. She's not here to try them on, so hopefully they'll fit as well. Again, I think you could tell, since the ribbon goes all the way through and I use magic loop, I feel like you can tell the purl stitches that was the magic loop, like there's just a little bit more distance in the ribbing. So for this side, it's like right here, and for this side, it's like right here. So yeah, I would just love any tips that you guys have for fixing that, adjusting your tension. Maybe it just comes with practice. What's nice about this sock is that the magic loop part happens, like you purl the last stitch and then you purl the first stitch on the next needle. And so I find that my laddering is worse when it's in ribbing. My laddering is okay when you're going from a purl to a purl for some reason. But when I go from a knit to a purl or a purl to a knit, when you're changing from needles, that's when it's the worst. I just can't fix that tension. I don't know. So if you have any tips, please let me know for magic loop and laddering. And I've also heard that two small circular needles can help with laddering. I've never tried knitting socks with 2 small circulars or DPNs. It's just magic loop works well, and I like 9-inch circular, so I haven't tried, but let me know if you've tried two small circulars and if you have better, if it's been better for the laddering that you get. So that was my first whip. My second one is my oversized seasons cardigan by Ozetta. Let me dig it out here. So not very far. Just the back of, this is the collar that you've cast it on, so, and then this, I've started a teensy bit of the back here. It's definitely intimidating. When I first knitted this, I was reading the pattern and it gave centimeter measurements first and then inches, or inches first and then centimeters second, the equivalent. And so when I was doing this, I saw 5, you know, and I looked at the measurement at the end of all the numbers and it was centimeters. And so I did 5 centimeters, you know, knitted that long. And then I was supposed to pick up for my size, it was too many stitches. It was like 50 stitches or something. I can't remember the exact number. And I was like, how in the world am I gonna knit, like pick up 50 stitches in that length? But I just was incorrect. I read the centimeter and not the inches, and I was supposed to do inches, and lo and behold, I ripped it out and I restarted. It's the right length. I had no issue picking up the stitches, and I can keep going. I'm just nervous. This pattern is intimidating me. I've heard, every time I hear someone talk about it, they talk about how long it takes, that it's so finicky with like the double pointed needles, and it intimidates me. And there's no rush to get this done, right? This is 100% wool from Love Crafts. It's just Northampton Valley Yarns, color charcoal, so black pretty much. I'm not gonna wear a wool cardigan in the summer, so there's really no rush to get this done, but it is intimidating. I've been putting it off for a few weeks. This has been like this for probably 2 weeks, and I've been putting it off, and we're supposed to be buying a printer. We're trying to talk to this guy from Facebook Marketplace, and we're trying to buy a printer off of him. It's a printer that I want, but he's not responding, so I'm just waiting. And I was thinking, okay, I'm just gonna wait, because this next part that I get to is pretty complicated, where it's a raglan, so you're increasing for raglan, but then you're also every, you know, certain number of rows, you're also doing a second type of increase. And she recommended writing it down, and I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds so intimidating. This sounds so scary. Can I do this? Which I can. It's just following a pattern, so I can do it. But this is all that it is. Hopefully it'll be a slow process, but if I don't work on it in months, of course I won't show you if there's been no process. But hopefully you see steady growth throughout the next months. But I don't have too much to say on it, the pattern so far. Although I will say she does give videos, links to videos in her patterns, and they are incredibly helpful. Yeah, I don't know if I could honestly be where I am today, and I know what I'm doing next, I just haven't started. And I don't think that I would know if it wasn't for what she, like those videos. So I'm very grateful that she took time to give extra videos in her pattern support, because it makes it feel doable. So yeah, great pattern so far. I'm excited for the end product, but the process so far has been a little scary. So for plans, last time I told you that I was going to knit the Cumulus Tee by Petite Knit, and I've chickened out after the cotton yarn experience, knitting that pot holder, and my hands were just hurting, and my tension wasn't great with the magic loop. I don't think I have to do magic loop in the Cumulus Tee, but I just chickened out. So I decided to go with the Vegas top. I think it's called the Vegas top, and it's a tank top. It's larger. It's a larger gauge because you use a thicker yarn. I believe it's a DK or worsted. I'm using Drops Bell. It's not here, but I've ordered it, so I'm so excited. From Laughing Hens, they had it very, very affordable, and the shipping because they're in Europe, the shipping to where I live in the Midwest in Indiana was very affordable. So I'm just waiting on that yarn to come in. So it'll go faster, and it will also give me an idea for how I like knitting with a cotton blend, because I was thinking I would do a cotton blend for the Cumulus Tee instead of the pure silk, and I feel like I want a bit more experience before I really jump in on that big project that I've heard takes a while. So I plan on knitting the Vegas top. It's super cute. It has some I-cord detailing. The neck on the tank top is higher. I'm just really excited to start knitting that. So that'll get here hopefully soon in the next week or two, and I can start. Another thing that I'm planning on knitting is the Shrug by Leslie Friend of A Friend to Knit With here on YouTube. She's got a podcast. It's wonderful. She just released, oh my gosh, I forget what the pattern is called. Is it just a friendly shrug? Oh no, did I write it down? I didn't write it down. I can't remember. Maybe just a friend shrug, but it's a shrug. And it looks so comfy and cozy. The shawl that I've knitted, which I showed on my first episode, the Cavendish shawl, is not as big as I was wanting it to be, and when I wear it over my shoulders, it doesn't cover my arms, and so I still get a little cold. If I wear it over my neck, it's great. It's a great like neck scarf shawl, but when I'm like knitting or reading in the mornings, it doesn't help. It doesn't give me a lot of warmth. I still feel like I need a blanket, and I just think that shrug that she's made over my pajamas, reading my Bible in the mornings, and then knitting in the evenings would be so wonderful. So I think, and this matches my pajamas. I specifically picked this color because it was very spring. It's a very spring, like beautiful mauve-y pink color, rose color. So that was very happy, but it also matches my pajamas. So I'm really excited. I got 2 balls. That's all I need for my size. And I'm excited to knit it up. It'll be quick. And I'm excited to have this when I guess I should say if my hands do hurt from the Vegas top from knitting that. So that will be a really fun knit. I haven't cast on yet, but I do have the yarn since I bought it when I had a coupon from Joann's. And I don't think I said, but it is the Lion Brand's Hue and Me yarn, and this colorway it's 80% acrylic, 20% wool. It's a bulky weight. What's the colorway? Love Song. So I'll give you a close up too. So yeah, I think that's all for knitting. Yeah. So now, if that's all you're here for, then thanks for watching. I'll show you my 2 finished sewing objects. My first one was the Donovan skirt. I think I talked last month about how my husband and I were going to celebrate our anniversary at a small town, Madison, Indiana. And I just wanted to I wanted to make my, nice dinner outfit. So I made the Donovan skirt by Helen's Closet. It's really big, just an elastic waistband, and it's got side slits, like right here. It's a linen and rayon fabric I got from Joann's. This like hunter green color, and I'll throw some pictures up of me wearing it because I took some pictures because I'm just so proud of it. It's definitely not perfect at all, but it's my first successful. I'm showing you where I messed up so you can see that it's not perfect. It's my first successful sewing garment, and I wore it. I've been wearing it, and it's great. It's so much fun. You're not gonna be able to see this, but yeah, it's not perfect. You can't really, like, if you get close, you can see the hems are a little weird, and to keep the to keep the fabric from fraying, I did a zigzag stitch, which is not perfect, but man, it was so much fun. I felt really intimidating, but she really does walk you through what to do. When she says beginner pattern, she means it. I think I mentioned that I tried another beginner pattern. My first project was a little onesie for my son, and yeah, it may be beginner for some people, but for me, for like a very first project, it just wasn't doable. It was just way too hard. Not enough information for a true beginner. So But it's super fun. The pockets don't align well, and she does call for, you can do some elastic or top stitching on the elastic to keep the elastic from rolling. I opted not to, but knowing I can go back and do it. So my elastic is just free in the band, but you can add some top stitching. But I was very happy with it in the end, and was like, if I keep messing with it, there's a greater chance that I'll ruin it. And so I stopped, but it was really fun. The second finished object, sewing finished object that I have is more of a mend. I found this video of how to take in the waist of your jeans without like removing the waistband. You basically just like cutting holes in the waistband and putting elastic through, and then you like are sewing on buttons to your jeans, and then cutting like little holes in the elastic to put around the buttons. It's kind of hard to explain, but I will have videos or overlay images or something so you can see. And it worked perfectly. Perfectly. It took in my pants. I don't have to or it took in the waist. I don't have to wear a belt, which I don't like doing. So that's fantastic. I did it on 2 jeans. I did it on like a pair of thrifted jeans so that if it didn't work out, I wasn't losing money. And then I did it on a pair of my nicer jeans I've received as a gift like last year. And they worked, and it's fantastic. So I'll leave a link below if you are interested. If you also have the issue of your pants fitting in your hips and your thighs, but not around the waist, I will leave that link because it was easy and it worked. So I don't have any current other sewing or other craft whips. For plans, the only thing that I am thinking about doing is I have extra fabric from the skirt. I want to know if it's possible to get another like small tank top out of the remaining fabric to just keep practicing that sewing, and I'm kind of familiar with that fabric. And so that I think it would be fun to have a matching like set, a matching tank top, loose linen tank top. I don't know if I have enough, but that would be fun. But yeah, that's all for my other crafts. Okay, so now is just my favorite things. I love it when other YouTube podcasters do this, include either life updates or what they've been enjoying since their last podcast, because it does help me feel like I'm connecting to them more, getting to know them more. So I wanted to include that as well for any of you that want to get to know me more. Some movies that I've watched this past month that I really enjoyed were Top Gun, Maverick. Yeah, that's the new one. I think Maverick's the new one. And then the newest Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Those were great movies. I've seen all the Black Panther movies, and how they handled the passing of Chadwick Boseman, if I'm pronouncing that right. But how they handled that in the movie, I thought was just really, really great. But it just showed it was just really respectful, really honoring. And it was great. I really enjoyed that movie. Top Gun Maverick was also really good. I've never seen the first one, but I feel like I didn't need to get it, and loved the like brotherly sense of camaraderie and of course still tension between, but it was a good movie, very entertaining. As for TV shows, still working through The Office. I'm on the last season. It's just on for like background sometimes. Someone told me if I like The Office, I should try Psych, which I've heard of that before. I've heard someone else has told me that, so I just need to do it. So I think we'll try that. My husband and I are watching West Wing, but we're about ready to lose that subscription, so we're trying to decide what to watch next. I think we're gonna try The Crown. We've heard a lot of good things about it, and we really like Downton Abbey, so hopefully it's a little similar. Some YouTube channels that I've been enjoying. I subscribe to a lot just because new ones pop up on my home feed and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. I'll click watch later, and when I'm all caught up on my subscriptions, I'll watch them, and if I like them, I subscribe. But the ones that I'm like, I will not miss when they pop up on my subscription feed are the A Lovely Yarn, Amber from A Lovely Yarn. She's wonderful. I won't miss any of hers, whether it's a vlog or podcast. It's great. Another one, and actually 3 newer ones to me, and also just podcasting that I've really been enjoying and won't miss, are An Encouraging Knitter. I forget her name. Sandra, I will write it. She's a Christian, and shares her experience. I believe she lives in Germany, and she's studying to be a psychologist. I think is the title that she used. But she just has a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge about mental health, stress, anxiety, and how it relates to her walk every day, like walk in her life with the Lord. And it's very encouraging. Every time I watch it, I'm just very encouraged, and I feel like I take a little nugget of wisdom out of it too. And so highly recommend her channel as well. A Cornish knitter, I forget her name too. I remember the YouTube channel names, but not her name. But A Cornish knitter, she lives in England, Cornwall in England, and she's fantastic. She's a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and I love seeing her projects. She's just very aware of her color palette and what she likes and what she doesn't, and she knits things for her. She owns a yarn shop where she lives in England, so she knits things for her yarn shop that don't really match her color palette, she says, and that keeps it interesting. But for herself, she knows what she likes and what works really well for her complexion, and I admire what she knits a lot. And I also love England so much. That is like top tier bucket list. I've actually been there before. When I was 14, I think I was 14, I took a trip with People to People Student Ambassador Programs. Shout out if you have also heard or know someone that did that. But we went to England, France, and Italy, but we were in England for 3 days, 2 nights, and only in London. So, but yeah, I really love English things, I guess I should say, since I haven't been to the whole country, but it's on a bucket list of mine. I really want to go and visit. So I can't remember her name, but she shows like video footage of where she lives, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I love seeing a little bit of England when I watch her videos as well, and hearing her accent is wonderful. And then another one that I've been enjoying that's newer is the Fruitful Hands knitting podcast. It's a mother and daughter. They live close to me. We're kind of neighbors, state neighbors at least. And I love watching them. I just automatically, first video, felt like I was knitting with friends, and I love that. I hope people, when they come here, they feel like they're knitting with a friend, catching up with a friend, but that is definitely the impression I get from them. And so if I could get all of these women together to have a knitting group, man, that would be highlight of my knitting life for sure. And then books, I finished The Hobbit. It was such an easy read compared to Lord of the Rings. It flew by. Like the climax was like in the last 20 pages, it felt like. The Battle of the Five Armies was like 3 pages long. It's just so different than Lord of the Rings, but it was really good. I really was happy to read that. So I finished that about a week ago, and then picked up from my library the Wing Feather Saga, the first book, which is on the edge. I think it's On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness. It's by Andrew Peterson, which is one of my favorite musicians and authors. I've read some of his nonfiction books, and he's very funny. He has a very funny writing style, and it's definitely translated to this middle grade fiction book, fantasy book, really. So it's been a good read. I'm not far in, just a few chapters, and I'm really enjoying it. I have 21 days to finish it before I have to return it to the library, so hopefully I can move. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to share from my favorites. I was looking at my notes down here. So leave a comment below if you definitely have any tips for laddering, purling the ribbing with magic loop, and let me know if you have any of your can't miss episodes of knitting podcasters. I'd love to hear if you have any that you just adore as well. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get to know you a little bit more. I feel like it's hard to know people. My main social media, I guess you could say, is YouTube and Ravelry, but I don't understand Ravelry. I don't see how you connect with people on Ravelry. Instagram is very easy. You're like commenting on their posts, liking things, but with Ravelry, I get confused about I see the market side of Ravelry, but I don't know how to connect. If you know how do you meet people on Ravelry? How do you connect with people on Ravelry? Let me know. But so yeah, I'd love to get to know you, get to meet you in the comments, since I'm not really anywhere else. I'm not on Instagram, but I am on Ravelry. So if you want to connect with me there too, tell me how, and then I would love to connect with you on Ravelry as well. But I hope you had a great time. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you at the end of May. Bye.